Coming to you live from Weedy People Podcast Network. Welcome to this week's Politically Correcting Podcast and your weekly dose of common sense. My co-host, Lavelle Lewis.
Gia.
Austin on the ones and twos.
Hello.
And this week's special guest, I like to consider my friend, Mr. Andrew Gallina. Thank you so much for coming on. All right, everyone get your drinks out and let's toast for the ability for us to have a drink with another person while having open and honest dialogue and always striving to walk away, still bring friends. Salud.
Cheers.
Salud.
We're being bougie today.
Very bougie. Pinky up.
All right, we're gonna jump into the.
You guys all fancy. I'm just sitting here drinking a cream ale.
Oh,
like a
He's
peasant.
got. There's a.
I got one with you. I'm double fisting.
Oh,
wine and
there,
brewed.
There you go.
Cheers.
Holy mackerel.
You see this?
Yeah.
You see, and
I
he
think
thought
we're in
he was the one that
trouble.
said that
Doing
I
it
was getting
big.
in trouble. All right.
Doing it big.
All right. This
Man.
verse and thought of the week right here is we're gonna go to Philippians 4. Usually people go directly to Philippians 4:13, but I want you to see and read the what happens prior to that in Philippians 4:11. Saying, I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. I think that there's a lot of folks out there who are not living in any form of content. I believe that we live in a country where excess is valued, where people living above their means is valued. People want to show off for social media and they want to show off for their friends and everything. And we need to be able to be content in what we have currently so that when we are bountiful and plenty, we can be content at that point as well. And I'm learning this as we go along because I've been to the top and I've been to the bottom. I've been homeless. I've been very well paid. I believe that it's all in the mindset because the same time when I was, not as paid as I was before, I was still very happy with life. I was still very happy with the friends I had around me. I was still very happy with the family that were always in support of me regardless. And it's always about your mindset, where your mindset is at that point in time. So remember that no matter whether you're well-fed or have plenty or have the complete opposite going on in your life, be content and be happy because there's many people out there who have it far worse. There's many people out there who have it far better. Don't ever see someone on social media and say, I wish I were them. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. If you're going to compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Yourself. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Don't ever compare yourself or your circumstances to anyone else out there in the world. Got that, Mr. Gallina? Don't compare yourself to me, all right?
No,
don't be jealous of my life, all right?
Is that a female trait?
It's good.
You think?
No,
within today.
I think there's a lot of female traits that are being put onto men that they're taking on. I think that's human nature to be jealous.
Well, I say that with Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the majority of the people who are successful on Instagram are women who, they portray themselves as sex symbols very frequently on Instagram. And when other women see them, how do they feel?
Well, I think that the beauty industry kind of shows exactly how that is because, women can't get enough with these beauty products and, ripping parts out of their body and implanting other parts.
BBLs.
Everything. They put a lot of money into who they are. But the same thing with guys, the guys like the muscle men on Instagram and stuff, on TikTok, they get into that HGH stuff, the human growth hormone. They get into steroid use just to try and keep up. That was prevalent back in the day. Did you ever watch wrestling when you were younger?
I actually did when I was younger.
Yeah?
Not a huge fan, but I did. There was a time where,
I like watching
a little SmackDown. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like watching, I was a big wrestling fan and I like now watching the stories of wrestlers who I grew up with. And I hate seeing that they have such an early death because of the lifestyle that they lived.
Right.
But they chose that lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
They chose it. They wanted to be, that freaking superhero man. They all wanted to be 6'8", 300 pounds and be like this huge monster wrestler. And as soon as a young guy comes in, they said, well, I had to do something to keep up. I had to do something to keep that belt on my shoulder, around my waist. So I think I really think jealousy is a all around trait.
Mm.
I think you're seeing that in terms of social media, I think there's a lot of a female aspect that they strive to be like the other. And there's when women say, I'm like they're individual, like they can handle themselves. They're a boss bitch, hashtag boss bitch. It's funny you're getting into this because this was going to be a conversation I was going to bring up in your segment. Actually, it's kind of weird. Your daughter, what's her job now in your corporation?
She is director of communications and public relations. She does a whole lot of different things for us, but we wear a lot of hats in our company. But she's mostly our front person.
But she didn't take on that job at the beginning. She was working elsewhere, right? She was doing freelance and.
Well, she was at another ad firm and doing some other things, and then joined us after she got a little experience. And
so she wasn't relying on. It seemed there's a lot of women out there who rely on another man to get ahead in life, but
no. And Lauren, my
she's
daughter
her own.
never did. She's pretty strong-willed young woman and very independent.
That shows a lot about you as a father. Is what I was going to get to because.
Well, I have been surrounded by strong women in my life, and I've been
elaborate on
blessed
that.
to have a mother who is a wonderful, caring person, but she was really the strength of our family. She kept everybody together. As wacky as we were and going in different things, old Italian family.
Growing up in West Ronnequoit?
Yeah, growing up in Western Ronnequoit, but she was our rock. She was our rock. My sister, Elaine Spall, is very strong personality. My wife is very strong, accomplished woman as well. So I have role models, female role models in my life that I project out to my daughter and my daughter-in-laws and everyone. You have a lot to give and don't take anything for granted. So strong women are probably the basis of this country. I'll tell you.
Well, that's
you think about it.
When you say strong women, that I love that aspect of it. And that's why what I wanted to touch on, because there's a lot of women out there who claim that they're strong, that they claim that they're top notch, but it's really only based on looks. What your looks can only get you so far.
Correct.
It's who you are, who you have around you, how you were raised. And you brought up your sister, Elaine Spall. Elaine Spall was on a city council member before I came on, and she's still, what's she doing? CEO?
Well, she runs the Center for Youth,
right?
Center for Youth Services, and very successful agency, and is basically saving a lot of young men and women in the city through the services that they provide. So yeah, she's making a great impact. My wife, the same. She's been very involved in the community. She serves as one of the regional boards of Russia Regional Health, is chairperson of the board there. Very involved in our community and different things. Al Siegel and a number of different agencies as well. So
awesome.
Yeah,
that's huge, because I think that there's a lot of girls and women, young women being raised that don't have that type of caliber of women around them, or the men who stick together in families and make sure that they raise them as a unit to make sure that they have both the, the father aspect, the male aspect, as well as the female aspect, the mother, the sister, the, aunt aspect of it. There's a lot that goes into more than just raising one child in one family. There's the extended family that could have a large impact on that one child. That in the inner city right now, it seems like a lot of these children, all they have is their mom, because their mom, is an independent woman she could do everything on her own. But there's a lot to say about a young child who was raised with both parents, who was raised with an entire family, an extended family around them. There's a lot to be, that's tough that these kids, they don't have that at all. A lot of these kids have not even gone really past their street, because their close family is right there, and they only know their mom and their grandma. And that's a tough life to live and not see the different aspects of what's going on in the real world out there, because there's a lot more than just Clay Avenue, a lot more than just Dewey Avenue out there. There's a whole world, and I'm proud of you for being a good father, because we live in a world where it's tough to be a good dad, and it's kind of looked down upon to be that type of dad that you are steadfast in your family morals. I want to say I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
That was gonna be one of the last conversations I was gonna bring up, but you had to bring up women on Instagram and stuff like that.
Jumped right in.
Jumped right into it.
That's how we do around
Yeah.
here,
Well, I don't ever tell him who's coming on or what I'm going to talk about, because I enjoy getting his, randomness about all the different topics. Me, myself, I'll forget a lot of things that I want to talk about. I have to have it written down. So I'm really jealous of his.
I mess up the show. I just there's
no such thing as messing anything
not
up.
Mess it up, but I scramble it around a little bit. Right. Scramble board. But to your point, and to piggyback off of the need for strong fathers, I've been finding myself getting pushback from certain women when you notice certain situations. Like if you see a female struggling within that household, and you see a house that is just, you see the chaos and you see the things that a man would step in and take care of, like certain things around the house, and you get the pushback where she doesn't need a man. Women are more capable, are very capable.
I think it's more than that. They don't want the structure or the discipline.
You're right. But I also think that some way, somehow, the distractions of understanding that no matter what, there needs to be a leader, right, within the household. And women, we, just like you said, if you don't have strong support of a woman behind you, then that man is no true man, right, for that tribe. And
allegedly,
but
putting out there for the guys out there who are getting hurt about you saying that.
No, I'll
but I agree,
because
go ahead.
The woman that has the insecurities within her, that is not aligned with the man and what the goals is, and following that lead, she takes them down, a couple notches, and then all of a sudden you're just literally weakening your tribe, right? So maybe it is society and what has happened throughout the years. Maybe it's the distractions that we have to where the value of the man has been decreased throughout the years. But when I see men, sticking with their family, still leading, it's a beautiful thing.
How long you been married?
41 years.
Fantastic.
You writing a book?
Yeah.
Oh yes, write that book.
I got it.
Bring that book out.
You gotta help me write it.
Oh yes, I'll definitely help you write it. I'll give you the what not to do's.
Yeah.
I think Austin has something to say about that. Were you getting in there?
What? No, I was just gonna say, good job. Cheers.
Yeah.
That's 40 years.
Cheers.
Look at that. That's pretty fantastic to get a positive reaction from Austin over there.
I love it.
He can be very ornery about things.
Wow. What? You just call me ornery?
Oh my gosh.
I'm not. You can't prove that.
Over the years, I've had the opportunity to talk to young people, mentor a little bit. And one of the things I really talk about is relationships. Mm-hmm. And I try to share with them your relationship with your family. And eventually, when you get married, you need to have a partner,
right?
An equal partner. You don't need to dominate your wife. Your wife shouldn't dominate you. You have to have a good partnership. And if you dwell on that and really work at that relationship, you will both benefit greatly, much better than either one of you alone. And especially when you raise a family, and with kids, and life can get crazy very, very quickly. And when you've got a good partnership that you can depend on each other, that's really important. So I share that message when I talk to young people about so many times people come to me and say, "Oh, your business, how do you do it with your business and this?" And I said, what's your relationships? Let's start with your basics. And if you got a good core, a good basic relationship with your wife, your girlfriend, whatever's going on, it really helps you move forward with business ventures and anything you want to do, to set your mind to something when you've got a good foundation. So there's a lot of strength in having a good partner at home.
Yeah, and it's biblical. You can't fully be the man that that God wants you to be, or God believes you can strive to be, until you have that family. You got to have the backbone, and
it's so true.
But do we do it though for like we, of course we do it for ourselves, but
of course
when we have that support of that woman, we want to make her proud. We want to make her
Right.
happy.
I think proud is
you
the
know what I
number
mean?
one thing. Like, because as a man, I want my wife to talk about me. You know, I want her to be proud of me. I want her to look at me and say, "Damn, baby, you're doing a good job."
That's my guy.
Yeah, that's my man. That's my man right there.
Right,
That's right. I love when
That's dope.
when my favorite thing is, and my wife for sure is watching this. When she comes back, you know, she goes out with her girls. She's very close with her girlfriends and stuff like that. And she talks about something that they were talking about me, and I'm like, you know, I feel good about that. Like the fact that your girls were talking about me to you means that, you know, not only are they proud of me, but they want to support me. And that kind of support is above and beyond, because it's very tough these days to have even men around you who are willing to support you, because it seems as if they always want to, not always, I shouldn't say that. It seems as if there's kind of a competition there. Like, you know, if, oh, he's going to do that, I got to do this. And it's not that. It's like, I want everybody to win. I want everybody around me to win. I want everybody to, you know, one up each other in a very positive way. You know, the constructive criticism, saying, look, I need you to step it up in this aspect because I believe in you. I trust in you. You know, I have these conversations with some of my friends, and at a certain point I've had to just cut it off, because I'm like, you're kind of that lead weight, you know, that weight behind me, holding me back, because I'm friends with you. I'm spending time with you, and I'm thinking you could do a lot better in life, in whatever it is. And you're just sticking to the same person you were always before. I can't be around that. You know, I'm striving to be better, and I can't do that with someone that's pulling me back. And the same thing with a girlfriend or fiance, whatever it may be. If they're also pulling you back, you got to be able to cut that off, because there's a lot more to life, and we only have so much freaking time in this world. You know, it's nothing but a freaking little glimmer in the whole atmosphere, in the universe, and we ain't got time for all that.
How important is it to pick those relationships, right? And you know, I think it is very rare to where you have, you know, two people, right, that's within a couple, that the relationships they choose together are the right relationships for their entire relationship, right? Their friends aren't haters, their friends aren't competitors, their friends aren't envious or jealous of what your relationship is, and the fact that your wife can surround herself by females that aren't haters.
Yeah, that's our biggest
thing. That's a great thing for your relationship. You know what I mean? So I think, I don't know, throughout time, hopefully, you know, we can find a way to kind of make more couples aware of the importance of the relationships outside of the relationship. You know what I mean? Like,
you've seen,
beyond that,
you've seen the you know, the people that, you know, Edna hangs out with, the girls that she's surrounded herself with, and she's very, very picky about the women she picks, because you're absolutely right. You know, I'm sitting here talking about guys being competitive women. Oh my God.
The one thing this one man told me, which I wish I would have listened to him way back when. This was like 2002 or something, 2003. He goes, never let another man in your house. He said, I don't care who he is. He said, I don't care who he is. If you got kids in the family, he said, don't let them come over your house and chill and hang out. Don't do that. It's a no-no. And I mean, there has to be some boundary set within. Just,
you believe that?
I do. I really do.
Why is that?
Well,
expound on that thought.
Well, you never know until you find out, right? And with men and other men's relationships, I think they can be a little bit more envious than women, right? They attack the tribe a different way. You know what I'm saying? Whereas women, they would rather raise doubt in that other, you know, females, their friend's mind about their significant other, just to see them break up. Like, she doesn't even have to like the man, you know, her best friend's husband or boyfriend, whatever. But, you know, she just wants, and, you know, misery loves company. With men, you like, yo, there's a lot of jealous, envious men as well. They want what you have. They want that. It's like that chase for a lot of men. And
so it's the men want what you have, and the women, it's, I don't want you to have what I don't have.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to turn your negativity tonight into a positivity.
Let's do it.
Talk to us about your beginnings. Who who made you who you are? How were you raised? Because I know you were. We talked about your mother already.
Yeah.
You quickly talked about your dad, but your dad had it feels as if looking from the outside in that your father probably had a big impact in your life. So talk about your.
He certainly did. My father and my extended family. I was showing you the guys earlier. I grew up in West Irondequoit, a stone's throw from where we are sitting right now. So went to West Irondequoit High School.
What's your opinion on the East Side?
The East Side, what?
Eastridge.
Eastridge.
Yeah.
They're our competitors.
Ah,
You
there we
know?
go.
I mean,
There we go.
I
As long as
they're
we are on
okay.
the same page.
Hey, I have some friends, good friends, went to Eastridge, but
Mm-hmm. They know the
my
difference.
guys are here, right?
They know.
He's a lot nicer than me.
They know. The West Side's the best side.
What do you say?
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
He's getting no
So
development in
anyways,
Eastridge now.
No,
No, it's fine. We'll get there. Don't
no,
worry.
it's all good.
They should live by the motto: if you can't beat them, join them. Right. So they just might as well just say, you know what? Let's just call ourselves West Irondequoit. Just forget about it.
Just do it
you
all.
know?
So you played lacrosse in high school.
So yeah. Okay, let's just jump right to that. Yeah, I had the good fortune of playing lacrosse in high school and had some was part of some really great teams.
You win
during the-
states or sectionals? You put up one of those plaques?
Oh yeah.
IHS, baby.
Actually,
He also went to a very good college, Brown University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Played lacrosse there and had some fun. It was a great experience. Actually, lacrosse actually got me to Brown. I was recruited, and that's how I ended up at Brown. So I had a great experience there. Met some wonderful people.
What position?
I was an attackman, a lazy attack.
I was about to say.
Well, right?
I was
Hey,
about to
bring me the ball, and I'll put it in the net. Right?
Yep, the shooting guard. I just want to
That's
score.
all. Right. Just give me the. I'll take care of it from here.
Absolutely.
So
I just wanna score.
that's exactly what I was about. Yeah. So that got me to college. Went to college, came back, and got involved with my father in his home building business right after college, and swung a hammer, and big college kid. Yeah, and I'm swinging a hammer with the guys in the field, and it was really great experience going through that period. And then we shifted gears a little bit, got into commercial property, and started building office warehouse buildings, some different things that I had exposed to with some of the people that I was doing business with. So
that was in the 70s, right? When you pivoted there?
I graduated in 75.
Okay.
So, by the 80s, we were doing some more commercial building.
When interest rates were what, 20%?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
it was
I
a
can
mess.
imagine back then.
Yeah, so that kind of shut the market down. We kind of survived that. And then when things settled down, we took off and we started developing business parks around the community, mostly in Monroe County in the Rochester area.
What was the price per square back then? For anything.
For anything, it was peanuts compared to what it is now. I don't know what your reference, houses or whatever.
Anything, houses,
anything. It was,
buildings is probably like nothing.
It was nothing. It was
For real, they're still charging. They're charging good amount of money per square footage today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at places for a party brunch spot that I want to do.
Oh yeah.
And it's it's $1 per square foot per month.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Well, $4,000 a month for a restaurant area.
Oh, that big?
Yeah.
I'm thinking like not 2 but 4,000.
Well, like 3,600 square feet. We'll see how it goes. That might not be the spot. We'll see. So how was it working with your dad for so long? I mean, I can
my
tell.
dad, I'm going to talk about my dad.
Yeah.
My dad was second generation from Italy. My mother was actually born in Italy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's a cool story. She came over when
Where in Italy?
She was 4. Body.
Okay. Does she have an animosity against Sicilians?
Well, they used to say it was Sicilian. Then that's not Italian.
Right. That's like East Irondequoit, West Irondequoit.
Well, right? That's
it is. Yeah.
Sicilians are not Italian. They're Sicilians. No, but yeah, we had a great home life growing up, and my dad worked really hard. He was a vet, was in the war, came back, worked for Manson News. It's a long story. Then got to an opportunity to work with a carpenter, and he very soon grabbed my uncle, and they started their own carpentry crew, building roughing houses. And
What are
from-
those?
Where are they?
What are those? What are roughing houses?
Rough carpentry.
Okay.
They were, building all the frames, and so they had their own carpentry crew, and then soon got into building their own homes. You build a house, then you build another one, then you buy a piece of land, you improve it, and then you build a track. And in those days, I'm talking late 50s, 60s, they couldn't build them fast enough. There was such demand. There's a lot of growth in Rochester. Some of you'll love this. Some of those old brochures, about 1,200 square foot ranches for 11.5.
That's nothing.
Think about what that same house is selling for now.
I know.
Right? But,
Well, that was,
and they couldn't build them fast enough.
Yeah.
They couldn't build them fast
Because everyone had a job.
Yeah.
Everyone was cranking. Kodak was cranking. Everything was, the economy was flying.
Rochester was balling back
Right.
Then it was a little different world, and so they did quite well, but worked really hard. They used to work from sun up to sundown.
So they didn't have that work-life balance that everyone wants these days.
No, they just worked really hard.
Do you think that's because that's a struggle with the mentality of, everyone wants that work-life balance. Do you think that it actually exists? Or should you say, you know what, you want that money, you got to work hard? And sometimes it's going to take time away from your family.
I think there is a balance. There is a balance.
You think so?
Yeah. You have to, as you get older and look back, you say, I work pretty hard at times, and I don't think I sacrifice too much from my family, but a lot of guys do work Saturdays, Sundays. I got to get and get that extra buck. There's a point where it's not worth it. I remember, when I was, I don't know, my kids were little and working pretty hard, and and they say, why don't you go on vacation? I can't go on vacation. I can't take time off. I can't do this. I said, well, you got to schedule it. You need a day off, schedule it in advance so you get your time off with your kids or a vacation or whatever you want to do. Because if you don't, it goes away. I have a story about a guy who, a friend of mine. I remember like it was yesterday. It was about 5 or 6 years ago, and he said, I can't go on vacation. I want to go to Italy. He had heritage and family and everything. I want to go. I said, geez, you got to go. And I told him the same thing. I said, listen, you're busy right now. Next February, next March, whenever he was an asphalt contractor, whatever you schedule it. Yeah, you're right. I might as well do that. Heart attack and died, never did it. So I always remember that. And those are those balances. You can't get that time back, Lavelle, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You get me?
You're right.
So I tell that story because people don't quite realize the next deal. Sometimes take your breath.
You're talking to the right person. I don't like time off.
Well,
I don't like it at all. I can do a 4-day weekend. I can do that. Like I'll have a lot of fun with 4 days.
It's
4
okay.
days. But when
How's
it's a week, oh my God, I'm ready to be home after 3 days. I'm like, come on, like I'm ready to go back home.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Oh,
But
thank you. I
that's
feel
what
good.
that's what makes you tick. That's okay. Everybody's a little different, but don't sacrifice things without having a little understanding what's important in life.
That balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not going to Santorini, Greece in 4 days.
No, don't. No, that takes a little bit.
The-
You got to go there.
My wife really wants to go to Greece, and there's really
Greece
no
is
reason
cool.
why I would not put that down on the calendar and say, let's go on this
Yeah,
date at this time,
yeah.
because it's so funny how this is what I love the mentality of that, because I can easily go out and spend however much money.
Yeah.
But saving that money for a trip that I'm taking next year is like impossible for me. I can't do it. I can. I'm just saying mentally.
Yeah, I know.
And
Yeah,
just the priorities. When you prioritize certain things, you
Right,
find
right.
ways to have money for it.
Right.
And the worst thing I ever want in my life is to say, "Oh, I don't have the money for that."
But
That's
you
like
see
the
what's
worst thing.
interesting, and I find myself when I go on vacation, I have time to chill, think, and I come back energized in different ways. Sometimes I experience things that I bring back to my own life or to my business and say, geez, maybe architecture. I love architectures and I have some design capabilities and doing things. So you see, how different people do things in different parts of the world or the country, and you bring them back and say, you might be surprised.
I could be if there weren't these types of articles coming from Rochester every time I'm on vacation. Bring up the articles concerning all the freaking crime. So let's bring up the one, like these are just a few of them. And I want to get your insight on this because as someone who is a developer as well, you also, are looking to redevelop parcels, right? You're looking to whatever it is that you're looking to do in the future.
Right.
You got to see these things. And I want to get your insight into saying you've seen it from your point of view and what your point of view from someone from the outside of Rochester or outside of Monroe County looking in, possibly looking to bring their business here. What are your thoughts on these things? So we see the one here saying man arrested for robbing 2 Rochester stores, fleeing stolen vehicle. I mean, they crashed right into the front of the stores.
Unbelievable.
Started stealing things. The other one, 2 postal carriers robbed within hours of each other in Rochester. Bring up the next one. These are all within a week of each other. Male struck with firearm while getting robbed on Orange Street. That's in my district. The other one, RPD gunfire strikes home containing children on Shelter Street. So all these houses are getting shot up, all around the city. Dave & Buster's employee attacked. Who attacks a Dave & Buster's employee?
Kids.
Right.
It's kids, yeah.
The Record Archive, they released a smash and grab surveillance video.
Backed into that. Do you see that?
No, I didn't. How do you attack the Record Archive?
How do you attack Record Archive? How do you attack Dave & Buster's employees? How do you kill a guy coming out of Burger King out of his job on Lyle Avenue?
Boy.
Well, do we have any more on there? I think we have like one more freaking.
Those are all the ones I have.
That's all
enough.
Literally within a few days of each other.
That's enough.
So seeing all of these news articles from your point of view, how do you still decide to invest in the city saying, I'm gonna do this because what drives you?
Well,
insanity? Is it insanity?
Yeah. I'm a glutton. I've been quoted as being a glutton for punishment. Like, why do you keep doing this?
Right.
You keep throwing money at place. Well, the fact of the matter is, I'm a native Rochesterian. I believe in Rochester. My children are involved in the business. They're investors as we are, and we can't give up, guys.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So, what can we do? That's the whole question here. We can get involved and try to help the situation, or we just sit in the sidelines. Well, we need to get involved. And perception is reality, right?
Sure.
If you think it's dangerous to go downtown to a show, it's dangerous to go down to a show because you don't want to go because you feel it's right. We can read any articles and this and that, and then we can talk about Main Street is actually not as dangerous as they claim it is. However, that perception is reality.
Absolutely.
It's true.
So I've had the occasion to meet with a number of the folks from RPD on October 18th this past year, and I don't know why I remember that date. But
Yeah, it's very specific.
I had approached the mayor, and I asked him to. Where it came from, I wanted to host an open forum at our theater and say, I want the community to come, and I want our RPD and our public safety officials to talk to us. Tell us that things are okay. Tell us what you're doing to keep us safe. That led to a meeting on the 18th. And what we did, to the mayor's credit, he gathered all his commissioners. We were in the big conference room right outside his office. You know that room well. He had all his commissioners there, Chief Smith, Captain Gabe Person, who do you know?
Absolutely.
Captain Person who runs the downtown section. He's a great guy. And 2 other liaisons from RPD, and I brought 11 stakeholders, residents, some business owners downtown, and everything. And we had this open conversation. And they shared with us some of their challenges, and we shared with them our challenges. We had a number of incidents at our properties downtown. Most recently, there was a mental health issue at the Metropolitan. The guy refused to leave, and it got ugly for a while, and RPD did not respond very well. Well,
they didn't respond very well, meaning they didn't show up?
Didn't show up for an hour. Well, what happens when we have security, but it's like security back and forth with this guy, our security is not armed. They don't want to touch the guy. The guy is in your face, and when you're trying to calm down, it was bad. and you present this to our guys and they say, what do you think? So, well, there's a couple solutions, but they apologize. That we are down in the city of Rochester. We're down 100 police officers right now. And being a police officer is not just like hiring an engineer or hiring, a bus driver. I mean, you need to go through the academy.
Right.
So there's a timeline to be certified, to go through the academy. And
It's a year after you pass your exam, the
right,
first exam.
And the same with the sheriff's department. These guys need to be trained, right? Yeah. So we can't turn this on and hire 100 guys or women, Mm-hmm. So we're going to be in this situation for a while. Mm-hmm. So what can we do about it? What do we do? So part of the conversation is explaining to property owners, business owners, what you do to protect your own property. And there were some specific things. And since then, we've rewritten our security protocols for our security guards, our different buildings. We've engaged the person in crisis team. They're called PIC teams. So next time when we have a mental health crisis, we call the PIC team. And the person supposedly will show up, and we have used it once that they responded and talked to somebody. So we don't have to wait for an armed RPD, because many times an armed policeman comes in and talks to a person in crisis. It puts them right over the edge anyways, because, you're not going to, guy's got a gun. What are you going to do? So it drives them further. So there's ways to help ourselves. There are barriers that we can do. We've done that at 1 East Avenue. We've installed some barriers so cars couldn't drive through. We had some problems in that way. And most recently, I don't know if you guys remember this, if you're old enough. We used to have, and it wasn't that long ago, we used to have the red shirt program. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm having some meetings the next couple of weeks, Jose, and we're going to come to city council probably. I've talked to Chief Smith about it. And we want to reinvigorate that.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Now think about this. We sit back and do nothing, Lavelle, or we try to do something, right? Mm-hmm. So we get some folks that we can pay to be ambassadors. Now, these are not, security people, although they have a security function to call for help if they need help, but they're ambassadors. Mm-hmm. And it's much like the idea that you brought to me that we had already been talked about with your trip to, was it Louisville? And you talked about that. The light went on. I said, this is what we're talking about. This is exactly what we're talking about. It
was amazing. It was these guys wearing green jackets on bicycles, just riding around downtown. And they stopped us and they're like, hey, do you guys need some help finding somewhere to go? And we're like, hey, it's me and my wife and 2 boys here. Where's a fun place that also has good bourbon? He's like, oh, you should go here or here. Do you like burgers? Do you like steaks? Do you like this, that, or the other? Right. Like, they were all excited about everything downtown, and they showed you where to go, and they were around. Like, you saw them around, so you felt like, okay, someone's watching at the very least. So
that program,
the red shirts would be great.
That program went to the wayside under the previous administration. Mm-hmm. The funding was pulled. The funding was pulled, and there were potentially some other political reasons why the program was shut down, but it was run by RDDC. So,
how dare you?
So
that's what I meant for the previous.
Yeah. So Jose is going to be the champion of this program when we bring it back, and then we're going to ask you to have some comments when we start to put this together, because
I'll put on that red jacket. I'll go out there.
Okay, but we're going to.
But I require my guns.
Guns?
I require to be armed.
Well, that's you. Our guys are not going to have guns.
Well, isn't that where everything is going on right now? Like, anything that is provided by the public or state, it's kind of like just being consolidated because they don't have the funds to pay it. Like, our state is broke.
Right.
Our city is broke. Mm-hmm. But a lot of folks don't know or understand there are more security guards, hired, paid security guards, than we have police officers on the force. So we have capable bodies of people who are out there who are willing to put themselves in harm's way to protect stuff from being broken into or broken. It's like, how do we put the responsibility on the private sector to pretty much police themselves at this point? You know what I mean?
This is also part of the initiative to create a business improvement district downtown.
You're reading my mind. That was my next thing there. The bid.
districts.
But do
the
you think
bid.
they want that? Do you think the governments want that? Anything that has to do with small business or
Well,
business?
we passed it. We passed the legislation to at least discuss the bid.
discuss to explore the bid is what
Mhm.
absolutely, Val. It's working all over. Why wouldn't it's self-assessment? It's not going to cost the government anything.
Mm.
All the property owners kick in, create a fund to do some things, and part of it is events, you know, cleanliness, cleanup. We want to do the ambassadorship program. I'm not going to call it a red shirt because we're going to rebrand it something differently.
Yeah.
Different color, different, maybe it's Rochester blue, and but we're just like you're talking, we're going to walk around with a satchel and have information about the Strong Museum,
Mm.
you know?
It's awesome.
So we serve a multiple purpose. Now
You
this
can
is
get
a
teenagers
brand,
out there. You can get teenagers
well,
out there who
and if they see some people on the street, if
Mhm.
there's some commotion, they have a direct line to RPD and say, hey, listen,
Right.
this is what's going on, 311 or 911. This is, this is a quick response team.
yeah, with the
They're
police
not
officer
gonna get
that's in that area
in
that's
that
traveling
area.
around. Yeah, absolutely.
So
And
it
there's a
gets-
bid. There's already a bid in my district in the Northwest at High Falls.
High Falls, there is.
So there's always, like, if you go to High Falls now, even though we don't have the entertainment that we used to back in the day, it's still very clean,
Mhm.
well taken care of. There's a lot of businesses in that area that many people don't know about, and they're doing a fantastic job over there with events too. Like we have the light show over there at the falls. We had the drones also. Like a lot of people just
Wasn't
don't know
that-
about these things.
Did you see that in
It was
person? The
amazing.
drone?
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
That was
That was awesome.
absolutely amazing.
That was awesome. You know, the best thing I think happened over there, because I was complaining about, I was talking mega junk during that the drone session. Well, the 4th of July, there was a whole bunch of trees all along that, that sky
And you
view.
couldn't see it.
I was like, wait a minute, yo, look at all these.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to talk to Jose about this. And sure enough, I didn't even get to talk to you, but again, there's been a lot of development over there. They cleared off all of those trees.
Yep.
Now during 4th of July, there was so many people over there just watching the fireworks over High Falls.
Yeah.
But it's such a huge asset for this city.
Wait till
this
we get that
city
park
is-
down there.
Listen, this
Yeah,
city is
that's gonna be
probably the
great.
most beautiful natural city in itself that we have in New York State.
There's very
you know?
few with there's very few in the entire world that have waterfall, let
Yeah.
alone two
Two of
waterfalls.
them, right?
And on top of that, it's one of the very few rivers that flows north and
Yeah.
does not freeze over.
Yeah.
That's right.
A lot of people
Put
don't
some
know that stuff.
respect on our name,
Right.
man.
Dude,
Come
can't nobody
on.
don't tell me nothing. My
I'm gonna
district,
get you involved, man. I'm going
Hey,
to get you.
It's
come on.
anytime, man. Just
Step up.
there's
Come
a
on.
lot. There's a lot going on, and
he
I
shows
think
up to
for-
a couple of things.
yeah.
I think that
it's getting there.
he's
Getting
All right.
there.
All right.
maybe he'll take over my seat on Northwest. We'll get you to run.
Ooh-wee.
Now we're talking.
They won't want that smoke. Listen, the stuff that you got. Oh my gosh, they would
I
hate
can't
me.
imagine.
They would hate me.
I can't imagine. But one of the things that you brought up the red jackets, which is fantastic. But right now, because you're in development, do you do any residential anymore?
Well, we have residential at the Metropolitan. We have apartments there, and over at the former Xerox Tower, which is now Innovation Square,
Right.
we have student housing.
That's where I was going to get into
So
the
we
Innovation
do.
Square, which you purchased. I'm going to go over some of the things about Innovation Square. I don't think a lot of people know about it. So it was the old Xerox Tower in downtown Rochester. You're transforming it into Innovation Square. I'm going to give out these numbers so you understand how big of a freaking deal this is.
Beautiful
All right.
down there. It's real nice.
So the purchase price was $8.3 million.
All right.
The site spans a full city block with a 580,000 square foot, 30-story tower, a 700-seat auditorium,
Correct.
a 17,000 square foot freestanding office building,
Mm.
and a freestanding retail building. Total size 597,000 square feet, with a total cost estimate ranging upward of about $35 million for redevelopment. That's a pretty impressive block of downtown that you own. Everyone that knows that already, but also hears these numbers, they're like, dang, how can I get to that level? So instruct us, give us some of your knowledge. How can someone get to the level where you are, to where they can go from owning, single family houses or maybe doubles, triple units, to where you are. What are some of the steps that you would take in terms of education, in terms of maybe job skills?
I see him look. The real estate guy's looking.
Yeah,
Come on, I want.
Yeah.
Listen,
I want
I'm on the finance side. He's in the real estate side.
Trust me, I'm sitting there like I'm sitting next to Donald Trump right now. Nobody even knows it. No one knows it. I'm about to listen to the art of the deal right now.
Right.
We're about to get it for free right now.
Because they automatically look. You don't know how much crap this guy gets from City Hall, from City Council, should I say?
What?
For being white developer who is investing in our city and is actively involved. You just heard some of the things I didn't even have to bring up. He automatically told you some things that he's involved in, not just talking from the outside, involved in. His family is involved in, and they still hate him strictly because he's white.
And that is just stupid, ignorant, and that's why.
And we talked about it last week when my uncles were on last week, and they were saying you can't blame the white man. It's not the white man's fault.
Bro, you know how many conversations we have about that, right? And I exhaust myself in trying to talk to people who are of the same race and color as me and try to educate them on historically as far as people in this city of no matter what color or creed you are, whatever it is. People in this city are different, unique. My mentor was Italian within real estate, and he's one of the nicest. You've met him before, Joe LaBarbera.
Oh yeah,
really great guy. And when I tell you, I owe him everything when it comes to my ability to understand and also be successful within the real estate business. So that race thing goes out the way because within business, no matter a poor business person is a racist. Period. If you don't have the ability to work with people across whatever different genres that there are, you are a poor business person. You don't know how to work with people, period. Have government officials who will literally vilify somebody.
Don't point at me.
Putting themselves out there, though, and actually doing something.
Taking on all of the risks.
Yes. All of the city can't do it.
No.
The city, what was the city going to do with Xerox?
What can they do?
Right. Xerox was a huge pillar in this city, right next to Kodak, right next to Bausch and Lomb. And then when Xerox fizzled, what are you going to do with this big old hunk of, building? Just like with the former HSBC building, right? What are you going to do with that? Well, you put a Social Security building office in there. Oh, that was great. Yeah, we're really using that well. That's really utilizing downtown. So anytime you speak, I'm gonna be the first one to listen. I'm like, where's my notepad?
Right. Other people want to cut them out though, because they see that what they look at is say, a white man, this is not me saying this, I'm just putting it out there.
I understand it.
A white man born with a head start, and they're gonna say it's an example of structural racism or inequality.
Read the book, The Richest Man of Babylon. One of the biggest lines within that, there's an abundance of wealth for everyone.
And it's constantly moving.
It's constantly moving. You just have to know how to get it. There's more money than deals out there, people. Period. That's a fact. So learn how to align versus tearing it down. So
let's learn.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Give us some insight on if we were going from.
You don't go from building a few houses to a project like Innovation Square. And actually our budget has grown another 10 million beyond that. So with some other issues and some other redevelopment
he said that like it was
doing.
Well,
but
it's coming back.
But anyways, you take baby steps. You take a project, then the next project, the next project. And the reason what that does, it builds not only wealth, a basis to borrow money, but it also builds credibility. Today the credit market is all about numbers, but at some point it's about people and relationships, right? And I like to think that we have a little credibility in the neighborhood here to say, if we take on a project, we can get it done. We're going to do it.
Right. If you hit the bumps, you know how to overcome them.
We have,
because you've gone
what I call staying power. We can make this work.
Would you say that foundation is from your father, though?
Yeah, sure.
That's that work ethic.
Sure.
And because you switched things up in the 80s, early 80s, and you had to overcome.
There is a lot of challenges in the lending environment with people of color. There's no question about that over the years. And I've seen it. I haven't witnessed it because I haven't been, just because when my father,
You don't tan enough.
no, well, yeah, but it's very interesting to talk about this. Now, I'd never compare my father's situation with someone of color trying to get credit, but as a young Italian guy with nothing other than the hammer, it was not easy as well. You see, not as challenging, but you get a taste of, you got to prove yourself. That's part of it, you know?
Yeah.
And that credibility, I can do this. I can do this deal. Then I do the next one. Then I do the next one. Right, Lavelle?
Right.
So you build it up, and we've been very fortunate in our life to be able to take some chances, make some good moves, and had some success.
And sometimes you need
our
partners.
markets.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need partners. I've had partners, and we actually, I have a, I don't know, a lot of people may not like this, but I have a saying, it's partnerships are very easy to get into and very difficult to get out of.
Yeah.
So if you have a partnership, just like your wife, make sure it's a good relationship, because otherwise it can make a decent business venture go bad if you don't have the right partners. But so we don't have many partners. My partners.
Well, at the point that you're at, you don't
my
need
families,
it. Right.
my family, my kids.
But someone starting
that's
off, they might need one person to say, "Hey, support me on this deal that I have found."
Yeah.
That I just need you to kind of give me the name recognition that if I'm gonna get this loan, it's because your name, but I'm gonna do all the work.
And capital, just capital, Jose. I mean, you can't get a loan unless there's some equity involved, and that's where there are a lot of investors out there that are willing to back people with a good idea. It happens in the startup, and not just in real estate, in the startup world, and all sorts of crazy stories that guys take a little idea and all of a sudden it's this huge company.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to use, Greenlight Networks is an example. Like startup, he started in his basement.
He didn't start with Gallina money.
Oh no,
he's killing right now.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
My friend, that's a young man that started Dado. It was an idea. He started in his parents' basement in Connecticut after dropping out of RIT, and he sold his company 3 years ago for $1.5 billion.
People don't even know how much money that is. You have no idea what.
I don't know if I can make that number that many zeros, right?
That's good.
So my point is, there's a lot of opportunity, but sometimes you need investors, you need people to back you. But at the end of the day, it's about what you got here. It's your heart, and you got to be honest.
Thank you.
You got to do it right, man. There's no shortcut, right?
No.
You got to put the time in.
How often do you need a business plan these days?
A business plan?
When was the last time you did a business plan?
It's a while.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right. You get to that. No, not sorry. That's where you get to, though. You get to a certain point where your reputation precedes you.
Man, you good to go.
Yeah,
you're good to go, man.
There's no banks asking Galina development for freaking
business plan. Good for you.
Yeah. But it's
how are you going to exit this?
It's a vision. It's a vision.
All right, don't worry about it, man. Just bring us some money back when you got it.
Right, when you got it.
Right.
I will say, for my own God, personal experience.
I wish it was that easy, but go ahead.
Within my own personal experience as the Black man, learning within real estate and finding out learning the capital side of the business. That's the most important part. When you really understand how a note is pretty much created, really the name of the game, like who's holding the note, who's the one that's in charge of the money.
Right.
I have been very fortunate to have, and it goes back to what you said about the relationships, to kind of create and have these relationships where networking, where right now at this point is like, I don't need anyone's money. I can ask certain people for money, and they trust me enough that I have the knowledge and experience to, take a project and then,
or not take a project on that's not going to make money.
Right. It's not going to make money. They know that, oh yeah, this dude knows how to find a deal. Right. And they see that, they know that, and they invest in that, and they encourage me. But that's on the private side. The public side, though, that's where I think, whereas when a lot of folks within the African-American community gets discouraged, right? They get that they don't know how to deal with that rejection, right? If they go to HSB, former H, I don't know why that name, that bank, because it's no longer here, but they'll go to like a Bank of America or a Chase.
Yeah, the biggest name banks.
Right, the biggest name. They'll
who
go
don't
to the bot
care
stores, right?
a
And
single
they'll
thing
get
about you.
denied or approve them for like $100,000 for, and they know the housing market right now is like, if you want a decent house, you're paying $200,000 if you're going into the suburbs. Like if you want to put your kids in good
Right.
schools, you're paying $200,000 right now for a house.
Starter home.
Easy,
Yeah.
right? And don't even think about West Ronnie Quake, because you're gonna pay $250,000 for a 3-bedroom, right? So a lot of the discouragement within folks within the community, they get, it's the insecurity part. They think that, oh, I'm getting redlined, which
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it happens. But for me, I think my own suggestion for folks who are within the African American community, if that door shuts, don't let it stop you. Keep going. Keep
Knock and it
talking.
shall be open unto you.
Yes, absolutely.
Just because that one door doesn't open does not mean that there's not other doors out there.
Because you never know who's going to answer the phone. You never know who's going to like literally be that person that's going to lead you to the person you need to talk to.
Mhm.
Like I may not be the one, but I know someone. I got a guy.
Right.
I love hearing that. I got a guy.
You got a guy?
I got
I
everybody's
need
got a
that guy.
I got a guy.
I
right?
need guys. We all got guys.
We all got
guys.
But that's the part of the business that I think comes with time, and I think we got to the powers that be kind of put those fears within anybody, not even just African Americans. I think people who are poor mentally, they believe that they can't do because someone told them no. They don't know how to handle that rejection. And I've been rejected so many daggone times. Like I expect it. Like if you tell me no,
is
I'm
it
like,
because you're
yo,
black?
No, heck
okay.
no. Heck no. It's just I really believe that the more no's you get, you're going to get a yes eventually.
Find the yes.
You got to find it.
That's
Find the
a
yes.
quality
Mhm.
Yeah.
in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Finding that yes, finding that one person, that one entity, that one financial source who will give you that chance, that one chance, and then prove it.
Yeah.
Come through, pull through, overcome the hurdles, and then after that, once you show, look, this was what I was able to do with the one chance that I got, you can use that as a springboard to the next one.
The biggest problem I have right now is lack of, right? I don't have
what's a lack of mentality?
Lack of properties. That's
that's
a problem, right?
Then we might have to start creating properties.
Oh,
why is it that
building.
City of Rochester doesn't do? I'm asking you as someone who might have more info than me, but I want to see is I don't personally want to see it in my neighborhood, but when it comes to lack of housing, lack of quality, low income or low rent, affordable housing, why haven't we gone the route of more tiny homes and or more or even having manufactured home park, the mobile home park? Because there's plenty of out there in the countryside, and these things are cost $35,000-$50,000 for a mobile home park or for a mobile home in a park. I mean, it doesn't cost very much, and you can pay rent there. Like I'm just thinking outside. I want to say outside the box. Like I said, I don't want a mobile home park in my neighborhood, but there's plenty of areas that I would think would be fine with it.
I think where they proliferate is and there's opportunities more in a rural setting.
Why though?
Why? Well,
because all you need is a couple acres.
I don't know the answer to that, Jose. I'm not a good one to answer. It's a market that I don't really know that well, so I can't tell you. Oh, it's because this is. But
let me give you some insight. It might be the next thing you're going to invest in. You never know.
No.
Wait,
but
he's going to go from Innovation Square.
I don't.
Innovation Square to
well, hey, let me tell you something. There's people made a lot of money.
There's a lot of money.
Making a lot of money in mobile home parks. So,
I want to buy a mobile home park. Is what I want.
Don't discount the product.
Oh, trust me. I'm looking all across the country for mobile home parks.
Is okay, but I just don't think it's a product that really belongs in an urban environment.
We got a lot of people in the urban areas though that has a lot of they have wine taste with beer money, right?
Right. Well, they have the they have the Chinese container homes now, and those are like lying elsewhere.
That though, like a lot of people don't know how to maintain. The upkeep is part of the job, right? You have to want to own. You know what I mean? It's not about just having it just to have. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like let's not.
But some people are out there paying $1,500 a month in rent, and they could They could own a house for less than $1,000 and pay $500 a month.
Maybe they don't.
upkeep.
Maybe they lack the know-how to maintain it. Maybe they lack the
Pay the money.
Bro,
You're paying for the upkeep and renting.
Yeah, but still, they don't.
Are they not? Are they not paying for the upkeep in that rental?
Yes, but to have the responsibility, right? The know-all.
So they don't want the responsibility.
Yeah, the responsibility also to know-all. Like, all right.
Yeah, just the understanding how to maintain
understand
a
how
house.
to maintain it,
Yeah.
and then also understand the equity. In 5 years, 10 years, right? In 10 years, my house could be worth more than what I bought it for. So let me see what I can do with this excess equity. Let me see if I can improve my home, right? Let me see if I can just take out 10 grand and then put it into the house, right? But some people don't want to do that. They just like to stick within their ways, pay down that mortgage, and all of a sudden my mortgage is done. But then my house is still, I need to do some updates to it, upkeep, whatever. People just lack the knowledge, man. It's something that we don't even educate our like kids in college, let alone high school.
Right. And there's a lot of bad landlords out there as well. And the city is coming down on them. What are your thoughts on the things that we're seeing now with the city coming after? Finally, in my opinion,
I think it's way overdue.
Mhm.
There's no excuse for some of the conditions that I've seen. Now, I know about as much as we do from the paper or reports, but I've talked to some folks at City Hall, and we in the past, very, very slow, very hesitant to assign fees or collect fees. You can write a citation, but nothing was enforced for years and years.
Yep.
Well, it's if there's no consequence, whatever.
It's
So
an
what if
appearance
they,
ticket.
Yeah.
So what if they don't have hot water for a couple of weeks? I'll get to it when I can.
or heat in the middle of winter.
Heat, things like this, long overdue, and that should be applied to commercial property as well. And the mayor is doing that. I've had conversations with him about that, and he's clamping down, and that's one of the ways that we can get some of these properties rejuvenated, renovated, only under pressure of citations and foreclosures.
Hit him in the pocket. He says he's going to go after
Step
them
up.
with saber-toothed tiger teeth.
That's a quote, right? From Malik. Yeah.
I think there has to be something done to that point where you have people who have been renting from landlords for so long. And if they are like some sort of slumlord in that sense, give the people who've been just pretty much wasting their money the first opportunity to actually buy this house. Find some other way to where
They call it something. First opportunity to purchase.
well within
That's what it's called.
There are programs like that. I know that.
we'll expand upon it and find a way to where if let's say if this house is free and clear, right? There's no mortgage. Then you know what? Turn that landlord into the bank. Right? Like, you know what? Hey, you've been collecting enough on this tenant. How about let's just turn this into a note. Give them a 10-year note.
Anyone could do that though. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Anyone, but
I've helped many people in that situation.
There's got to be incentive to do that.
Right.
Yeah,
So what is the incentive?
The incentive is to if it's to increase home ownership, right?
Right. I agree.
But I as a homeowner, as someone who's getting rent off of this home that I own free and clear, that doesn't mean anything to me.
That's the thing. They have to want to do it. So you present the opportunity, and it has to be kind of like a conversation between the two. It has to be an incentive for that landlord, that homeowner. Could be tremendous tax breaks on any other properties that they have.
And you could put it into your lease agreement, to be honest, because everyone just signs that lease agreements like it's nothing. But I always added it whenever I sign something. I say, okay, hold on, let me see if I can add this part in there. I got first right of refusal. First right of refusal. That's a big option there, because if you go to sell it, for someone that's living in a house or living in an apartment or 2-unit house, and they're like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and sell this house. Oh, well, I got first right of refusal. It's in my contract. That's a big deal. But the hardest thing is that in the free market, that's where I have a problem with it, is that in the free market, I don't want the government coming in and saying, you can't sell your house without giving that man right there the opportunity to purchase it. And it's going to take him 6 months to do it. And you might have a mother that's in the hospital that needs money right now to pay for whatever bills that's coming up. And you're like, why would I do that when I got this man over here or woman over here that's willing to buy it for right now for cash?
So what's the incentive?
Got an incentive, right? What is the incentive?
The incentive for the owner is if you own multiple properties, we're going to give you a tax break on all other properties that you own. All of the properties, the more properties that you own and the more opportunity you give to your tenants, it's a more beneficial to you. It's an option. You don't force them, you give them that option, right? So if you are finding a way to turn over property that you have tenants who have lived there for 5 years or more, you make it an incentive for both parties, right? Hey, you as the homeowner, what would you rather do? Would you rather pay $1,300 for a 3-bedroom on top of that RG&E and everything else, or would you rather pay $500, $600 a month,
Right.
and then $300 a month in taxes?
Right.
So now you're paying over, you're paying $900 a month to own this property.
Half what you're.
And then get this: within the next 2, 3, 4 years, you can just refi and either get cash and also pay an even lower amount.
Well, there's also something out there, and this is what I love doing when I did mortgages. Let's say your brother-in-law or cousin owns the home that you are renting from, and you go to purchase it from them. They can give you a gift of equity, meaning they're going to sell it to you, and you just say, hey, he just wants $100,000 out of the deal. Okay, is the house valued at $120,000? Oh yeah, it's $130,000. Okay, well that $30,000 is a gift of equity now. That covers your down payment and closing costs. That means nothing out of your pocket. Gift of equity is one of the most amazing things out there that a lot of people just don't know about. Go talk to a licensed mortgage loan officer about gift of equity. If you are renting from someone that you personally are like close with, family-wise,
right,
and talk about gift of equity, because you can buy your house with no money out of pocket.
But they use equity in the most like ridiculous way now. You know what I'm saying? Like the whoever is in control of the message and how we kind of communicate to the masses on ways they can improve themselves. The way we use equity, equality, it's always used in a confrontational way, meaning it's something that you got to fight for. Whereas it's not really something you got to fight for. It's something that you can actually negotiate and kind of, I guess, give yourself just off of the know-how. But we don't communicate that know-how in that way. We communicate it in a sense to where it's something that somebody has that they don't want you to have. It's something that just only white people have, then nobody black has any equity within this. And
because there's no such thing as YouTube or TikTok or anything like that to learn from.
You've gone to the investor club multiple times. Freya is one of the best investor clubs you can be a part of in this area, because it's very diverse. And that's the most frustrating thing that I kind of have with people of color in this city, because Rochester has always been a leader in allowing African Americans the opportunity to own, and not just African Americans, everybody.
We're even building houses for $400,000 a house over off of Joseph Avenue. Building it as a city, paying using your taxpayer money to build houses at $400,000 a pop to then sell for $100,000. So don't talk to me about it. Our city is full of opportunity. And we also have the Financial Empowerment Center that'll teach you everything about saving, credit, everything. They'll work on you with your credit and everything. We got the Credit Counseling Services of Rochester, Consumer Credit Counseling Services of Rochester, nonprofit that's going to help you with your credit. We have NACA, NACA, that'll help you buy a house with no money down.
Who's the problem?
No credit
Monroe
check.
County.
Ooh.
Monroe County. Monroe County is in charge of social services. How many programs is being provided by Monroe County?
Not many. The city is providing a lot of that.
Monroe County is in charge of social services. Monroe County is in charge of welfare. Monroe County is in charge of Medicaid, Medicare. You know where you go to get social services. How many programs are being provided through social services outside of HEAP payments, right? Outside of food stamps, outside of all these other programs that is about enabling people to stay within, like someone who's on social service, they should be able to own a property. Or they should be able to, you should have that, but at the same time, there should be some parameters in place to where you're moving them off of that system. Eventually, once you own a property, you don't need social service anymore.
There's a bunch of empowering, but you have to know. I think that's the biggest issue is we don't put out the information enough. There's not enough of communication on a very granular level, on a very micro level, to where we can put in front of a person at this address within these zip codes This is the information to buy a house. If you want, this is it. Right now, what we do is we put it on the city's Facebook page. Not everybody follows the city Facebook page. It's pretty boring. Let's be honest. Not everybody follows it, and not everybody looks through the, whatever times that they put out there as well. Not everybody reads the magazines. Not everybody reads the newspapers. Give it to them in a way that they need to hear it. Where are they right now? If they're going to social services offices, you have to go through this program right here to continue getting the services that you have been getting for the past 10, 20 years. You got to go through this right here in order to keep going, because we have the option of you getting off and bettering you and your family instead of relying on the government. That's my problem, is that we're not getting the information out to the people in a way that they can, number one, get it. Number two, understand it. Because there's a lot of terms out there that people just don't understand because they don't have the education that you have gotten to where you've surrounded yourself with the people who would teach you the things.
But you know how that happens, though?
How?
You have to speak to the problems. People only do something when they're in that fight or flight mode, right?
Like RG&E? Pull up the RG&E article.
Oh, yeah, right. Within that fight or flight situation where, all right, I have to make a decision. I have to figure out what to do. I got to figure out a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So within the problems that, the folks within Monroe County building get all of the time, I'm pretty sure they have a long list of the same issues, the same problems that people complain about every single time they come within that freaking office asking for assistance and help. The only way you're going to shift the consciousness of those individuals who will come with those problems, if you have to have those solutions right then and there. And the solution most of the time is them empowering themselves. It's more of them. It's more of creating the solutions that they could decide for themselves if
they have to want to
do it. Right.
I think you were perfectly spot on when you said shifting the consciousness.
Yeah.
Because if they don't want it, no matter what you put in front of them, it doesn't matter unless they want to. It's like someone trying to get off of cigarettes. It doesn't matter if you put a nicotine patch on them or freaking nicotine gum in their mouth. They're going to continue smoking if they don't want to quit.
That's right.
But this RG&E thing, what are your thoughts on this with people who are bringing up? Let me give you my personal insight, because before I ask you yours, I think people don't realize how much RG&E is worth and how much the city budget is and how much the county budget is. We can't buy out RG&E, but I want to hear your insight on it.
I can't see the article. So
It's RG&E
what's
customers voice concerns in Rochester Public Forum, and many of them have been talking about how we want a publicly owned RG&E.
Actually, I had a conversation about this.
Okay.
And yeah, we can talk about that, but there are so many regulatory issues that come into play that make it functionally impossible for your municipality to control the energy grid.
To buy it now that we've already gone this far. It's not like Fairport or Spencerport.
Right. The RG&E footprint is just too big and too
9 counties,
too complicated.
9 counties, 369,000 people.
We're not that rich.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But
we don't have that money.
all right. So why are we talking about this? We're talking about this is because their service is bad, the prices are high, and we're frustrated, right?
The customer service is also horrendous.
So-
The service is pretty bad too.
It's bad.
We have a lot of counts, right? And I have a woman in my office that complains constantly, probably twice a week. She's on the phone with RG&E for over an hour, just straighten out an account on something. It's ludicrous. And I'm not going to share this with you just because I'm trying to impress you, but we had a forum with developers with the president of RG&E last week. And I think part of this is trying to figure out, they don't know how to fix it.
Right.
So they want to ask us, but it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. They need a heck of a lot more people doing their employees and their customer service. There's no excuse to having people on hold for an hour.
Yeah, that's crazy.
If you're a working person and you're trying to call in your lunchtime or something, it just doesn't happen. You can never resolve it in your half-hour lunch hour. It's ludicrous. We've got construction projects that the engineering side of and the design for RG&E is taking months and months, let's say 6 months instead of 1 month. Well, that throws the construction side
Everything,
and all the
everything
way
is based off of
out of
that.
whack.
Right.
So all these things are compounded. It didn't used to be this way. What happened? Madam President, what happened? She says, we're working on it. We're hear you loud and clear, but they don't have a quick solution. They're working on it. Now, RG&E is part of a much, very large organization. I don't know if you know this. They're owned by Avangrid, who is owned by Iberdrola, one of the worldwide
Spaniards.
leaders. They are. So you know this is
Conquistadors.
one of the worldwide leaders in energy. So they should figure this out. This is not some little mom and pop operation, right, Lavelle? I'm saying, you know, these are big, complicated companies. Figure it out.
Someone just
hire
became,
hire some engineers to fix that problem. Hire some customer service people and train them to straighten out this time lag. It's unconscionable, but they recognize it. They're struggling.
I can tell you this as a former and current employee of this company, within that very department that we talk about, and I recognize the opportunity that's within there. And the problem with Iberdrola, when they bought the company from Energy East years ago, they dismantled and disintegrated the entire company. They owe millions to current contractors that's in charge of the power grid, right? The people who were installing the meters, the people who were taking care of the transformers, the lines, the line crews. They had their own infrastructure in place, but they were cheap. They thought that they can consolidate, like the customer service department. They consolidated and wiped the entire customer service department out, right? And then they just pretty much outsourced it to 3 different states: Texas, North Carolina, another state, and then also you have down in Binghamton, NYSEG, who takes RG&E calls as well. So you have people who don't know the community, don't know the area, don't know a thing about the cold climate here in Rochester that's supposed to be here to service the people within this city. So the president, unfortunately, I think is really being I think she's not being fully honest about the problems, because they are self-inflicted. And I do think I think they created this problem, because she said it with a straight plain face just recently on the news with the CEO who came in like, yeah, you know, it's just a problem. We're going to invest in infrastructure. We're going to do it.
His accent. I want to know what his accent is from.
His name is Jose.
They don't care. They do not care about the city of Rochester. They really don't. They don't.
I'm impressed with your background.
No, they
you know what you're
yes,
talking
I know
about, because
exactly
that's exactly the problem. It's a lack of investment.
Yeah.
So they want to consolidate and save, cut costs, and now they're paying the price.
They're paying the price, but
are they really paying the price?
Because I don't know. We're paying the price. We're paying the price.
The citizens are paying the price, and I am also a customer as well. So I'm like, when I talk to them every day. And like, when I'm keeping it real and honest with folks, and literally, like, if I'm like one of the only people within that place that has been able to kind of create some sort of stability within customers. Every single time I get a customer's like literally thanking me for, my knowledge and what I know. And that's the problem. Before, they had people who are knowledgeable, who were from the community, that were able to communicate what these folks needed to know and what the problem was. So whenever they installed this bot that was designed to correct customers' meter reads, which again, I think this is self-inflicted, so that when a smart meter comes, these smart meters, and this is what the president just said, the one who's we're working on. Yes, exactly. Don't worry.
When do you think that's got to be installed?
Don't do it.
So it's supposed to be coming within, if not the end of this year, early next year. Starting, right? They're gonna enroll it.
Square. When is
it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while. And the thing that RG&E is not doing, they're not shutting anybody off right now. They're not doing it because they can't by law. They can't, because they have so many problems. But I do, like I said, I think it's self-inflicted, so that when they enroll these smart meters, they'll have more people that will enroll than decide not to, because of that's another political fight that they're going to have to deal with, because there's information about the smart meters and the harm they can cause and some of the issues of starting fires. And, those things are out there. So, you know how they say within governments, right? Create a problem that you have the solution for.
Of course.
I think that's what this is it right here.
I think you're right. It's
You know,
self-inflicted.
it's
That's the thing. And
self-inflicted.
it requires investment. You can't
Mhm.
you can't cut around this.
No, you
need,
can't.
You need people, you need resources.
Yeah.
And I think that was the message that we shared with her. It's nothing new. She knows where we're
She
coming
knows.
from.
Yeah,
she
she
knows.
She's
It's unconscious.
I was
she's a
supposed to have-
politician, boy. She does her job.
Yeah.
She's like, so well spoken and so nice, and we're doing everything within our part. No, you're not.
You can do a lot more.
You can do a whole lot more. They could easily hire a whole lot more people, but at the end of the day, no one wants to get cursed out every single day over stuff that the company is not fixing. I'm
Right.
not a company man. I will tell the CEO, I'll tell the president to their face the problems and the things that they need to address, just off the simple fact that I am a passionate person about when I see people are being done wrong. When I see a woman literally get her account zapped $8,000 because she didn't get a bill for 7 or 8 months off of a bot that you installed in Labor Day, which you're saying, well, we installed it in Labor, we're just working out. A problem is that's not a problem with some old lady who's 90 years old who can't get through to customer service because she's calling 8 days in a row that she's
her
got her
account's
account is
overdraft.
zapped $8,000. That is criminal. That's criminal. And
then she gets a letter that they're going to shut the
yeah,
the power
and
off.
the rebuttal for that was, well, we did it so that customers can go get HEAP. HEAP is not going to help $8,000
answer.
out of my account. I'm
That's
sorry.
never the answer anyways.
It's not the answer. That's not the
No,
answer. The
it's-
solution is to own your problem. And then you have to support your employees that they know what they're doing and that they're going to work, and then you're going to give them the resources to get the job done. There's a lot of good people that work within that company, and they fired throughout time a lot of good, hardworking people.
But there are also other ways, other companies. Now, I'm not going to say that Spectrum does a good job at this, but if you call, instead of being on hold for more than 15 minutes, they give you an option to call you back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a solution.
They're prehistoric.
Or get
Everything that they do,
Chat GPT.
everything that Avangrid, RG&E does
I'm
is
saying
prehistoric.
there
Yes.
are ways to address this. You're short with your design cycle, sub it out. We have engineering companies all over.
Guess what?
Get other people to design it, and you charge the customer. It's not for free.
And they owe them
can do
also.
it.
They owe them
But
also.
I'm saying that you have to look at solutions, and the
Mhm.
solutions are, oh, gee, I don't have anybody. I can't hire anybody. What am I going to do? That's a fallacy.
Yeah. What was
That's-
me,
that's
RG&E?
your
Sorry,
side.
I'm not accepting that.
Can do, won't do, won't even try is where they're at right now.
Well, they claim, but we're not seeing any movement right
No,
now.
they're not doing
Customer
anything.
service is just horrendous.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else is horrendous? I'm going to call this out right now.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Congressman Morelli is presenting 2 bills.
Which camera was he looking in this time?
Stupid. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. So if anyone gets mad,
The
I
only
didn't say
reason why I joke with him, right, is because 1 minute it was, that he was on the defund the police kick.
that. Uh-huh.
Now it's these kids, then and someone can get hurt, and someone can, it's not right. It's not good.
You see why I get in trouble here? So what he's doing, he's
He's a troublemaker.
yeah, it's big
I
time.
knew it, and I just didn't call him out on it.
You need it.
So what's
So-
wrong with a ban on assault weapons?
He's helping to introduce 2 bills related to gun reform. One is a ban on assault weapons. The other one requires background checks. Okay, let's go through the background checks thing first. You can't buy a gun without having background check. And a background check is done by the FBI. I'm not going to guess anything.
I don't know that.
I'm a military guy.
Okay.
I own multiple guns. It
Okay.
takes a day to buy a gun. Me, someone who already owns guns, it takes a full day for the background checks to come back, even though I already own guns, even though I'm a city councilman, even though I was in the military and I know how to operate, break it down, clean it, everything. I know how to do everything when it comes with the gun. It takes me a day to buy a gun because they're saying background checks are going to take a little bit longer than normal. FBI does background checks.
So 1 day is a problem, Jose?
No, I'm not a problem with that. So what does this bill do then? It says
Well,
it's going to require background checks. That's not anything new. They already do.
Well, I don't know the background.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
I don't mean by that.
I'll tell you what it is. This is
Right.
appeasing
He's
people for
adding-
no reason.
Yeah, he's adding to the requirement.
Did this come
Now,
out today?
This was February 2nd.
Oh, okay.
This is a little bit old. This was something I wanted to talk about before,
I
but
think
we didn't get to it.
historically there have been some abuses too, and people are not properly going through the background check.
I don't know
protocol.
how, because New York State
So-
is not one of those states where you can just buy a gun anywhere. You can't go to a gun show and buy it. Even at the gun
I don't
raffle.
know what that refers to then. I just don't
Yeah.
know
And the
enough
other
about
one
the
is-
system. I'm sure you're much more versed.
I'm a gun owner, and
Yeah.
we had somebody on that was the gun shop owner who was talking about some of these laws that they're instituting because we had questions about them. The other one is to ban assault weapons. You said something along the lines of what's wrong with that, right?
No, I said what's wrong with yeah, I do. I originally said what's wrong with waiting an extra day. I have a strong opinion about assault weapons. I don't want my neighbor to own.
Even
an
if I'm your
automatic-
neighbor?
Nope.
Oh man.
There is no reason for what is the purpose for an AR-15? Why would you ever need that, Jose?
It's not a
Why would you ever need
Uh-huh.
that and take a risk of getting in the hands of someone that is not responsible?
well,
I don't understand that.
it'll never be in the hands of somebody responsible.
And I'll share with you.
Uh-huh.
I'm passionate about this.
I
So
see.
you're talking to the wrong guy.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking to the right guy.
If you're talking and you see all these mass shootings, if that was a pistol instead of an automatic weapon, 3/4 of those people would still be alive.
But how many people are
It
shot in
doesn't work
Rochester
that
with a
well.
pistol?
That's okay.
All of them
but
are done with an illegal pistol.
I'm talking about large magazines,
Right.
Automatic weapons. They're like machine guns, Jose. Why would we ever? They're killing machines. They are not hunting rifles. They are not. They are not protecting. If someone breaks in your house, you've got your pistol. You protect yourself.
No, my shotgun would do that.
Your shotgun, fine. Have a shotgun,
Right.
but you don't need to bring out an AR-15 and an AK-47 to protect your home. I'm sorry, buddy.
No,
I strongly oppose that. And I
get it.
agree with the congressman. We don't need assault weapons anywhere in New York State,
So
other than gun clubs.
okay. So to combat that, number one, I have the right to own it, and you can't infringe on those rights. That's my right. It's just like everyone can say, hold on.
You can own a bazooka too, right?
Hell yeah, I can own a bazooka. I want a bazooka.
Yeah, you want a
definitely.
bazooka.
Hell yeah, I want a bazooka.
And next thing, I'm going to have a tank in my parking lot. It's ludicrous.
You can't buy a tank.
It's
That's a
ludicrous.
slippery slope. That's a slippery
That's
slope
what I'm
argument.
saying. You're taking this to an extreme. It's ludicrous for anybody in our neighborhood, in an urban environment, anywhere in West Irondequoit, to own an AK-47. Why would you need that?
So let's
to the
go
point,
back
though.
to hold on. Let me make my real quick point here. You're saying there's
This
no
is good. This is good. I
Yeah,
like it.
absolutely. This is what the freaking
It's okay.
podcast is all about here.
It's okay.
And I'm very much fine with you not owning a gun, because when you need somebody with a gun, you'll call someone like me, police officer, someone with a military background, someone with a gun.
Okay.
Because if I was your neighbor, I guarantee if someone broke into your house and there was multiple people and you sat there and said, Jose, someone's breaking into my house, and I see they have a car full of people out there ready to kill me and my family. Me personally, not you, not Austin, not Lavelle, me personally, I'm going to take whatever measure I deem necessary to protect me, my house, and my family. If there's multiple people coming into my house, I'm going to use a shotgun, because a shotgun shell, it blasts outward. Hold on.
Amen.
It blasts outward, so my neighbors are not put into harm.
Amen.
I own an AR because, number one, I just think it's fun. I don't shoot it in the city. I take it out to the countryside and I show my sons, this is how you shoot it. And then we take it home and this is how you clean it. This is how you take care of it. This is where it's stored legally, because you can't ever touch this. If you ever touch this, I said, I will stab them myself. They won't ever touch it because they know what it does. They know what that kickback feels like. So when you say that there's no reason for me to own it, there is, because it's my right. Now, when we talk about, oh, well, the Second Amendment wasn't made for that. It was made for muskets. Well, the First Amendment wasn't made for online social media either, or for typing onto Twitter. It wasn't made for that. It wasn't made for tweeting people or messaging people. It was made for being able to speak up against the government.
All right.
But we've gotten to the point where you have the right, and you have the right, even though I might not like what you have to say, you have that right. Even though you don't like that I own these guns, I'm the type of guy that you should want owning a gun. Now, these kids are out there shooting up these schools. They're not the type of kids that should be owning these guns, and they usually are not. They usually are not. That idiot that was out at Tops, that shot up Tops, those two, if you knew those types of guns that he owned, I can't afford those guns. I can't afford those guns. I have no idea how that kid who was working at Taco Bell or something like that.
Yeah, he was CIA though.
Yeah, he was operative.
He was operative.
All day.
Yeah. Hold on.
Allegedly. That is the only way.
But that kid had mental problems, right? That kid obviously had mental problems. I don't have a mental problem. I don't have a trigger finger.
If
and
he
I know
had
how
a
to
shotgun, 15 more people would be alive today, Jose.
No.
Yes.
A shotgun is an easier way to kill somebody than a
No,
AR.
they wouldn't have killed him. They would have damaged. You
What?
kill one or two, but not like
if
with
I
an
had,
AK.
If I had a shotgun
Sprayers
right
coming
here, I could
Lavelle,
shoot.
are you kidding me? You spray 20
The
people.
slug, you got it. It don't matter what you got. If you got a slug, not a bird shot.
A slug would
You got a
destroy
buckshot.
somebody.
You got
gotta
a
kill.
buckshot.
You got to kill a few, but not with an automatic weapon.
A buckshot. You laying them down. One shot. One kill.
But if you look
One
at
person.
look at
One
the
person.
magazines.
Not 20.
Hold on, look at the magazines.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you know what a semi-automatic rifle? What the difference between a semi-automatic rifle is and a pistol is? The length. That's it. That's the only difference. A pistol where you can pull the trigger and it automatically loads the next bullet is a semi-automatic pistol, and that's 99% of the pistols out there.
So with an AK, you don't just pull the trigger.
AKs are different.
What you're talking about is what they have is a burst method on the ARs. A burst mode will shoot military style. It'll shoot 3 bullets at one time.
It's a military piece of equipment.
Yes.
It doesn't belong in the public sector.
That's exactly what
the private sector.
But the Second Amendment was made for that.
No, the Second Amendment is just like you're talking. It's interpretation.
Well, you know, I'll
go ahead.
Here we go.
I'll jump in.
We got the
here.
There we go. Austin.
Come on, let's get fired up, Austin.
No,
Let's get Austin.
to your
Pour some more
point,
wine.
Let's get Austin over here. Let's go.
specifically, to I guess back up Jose on this one,
Which he usually does not.
Okay, well, it's interesting. I love it.
I know. I'm the resident liberal.
Yeah.
But the exact verbiage of the Second Amendment opens with a well-regulated
Regulated.
militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed.
So not be infringed.
So it was created as a security measure for an armed society is a free society.
However, it doesn't specify which weapons are allowed and which
It
weapons
doesn't
are
need
not.
to, because I can
It
have
does.
any weapon.
That's what the point is.
But do you think I'm gonna take a bazooka out into the city and shoot someone on Clinton Ave? I'm not gonna do that.
Someone would.
But someone who pulls that trigger, because the bullet,
Well,
it's
they-
not the
they-
gun that
they-
kills you, it's the bullet that kills you, right?
Well, it's
Because a gun does nothing without the bullet.
It's the bullet and the person who's pulling the,
person.
trigger.
The person that's pulling the trigger, right? But how are
I
people
agree,
buying
but-
guns? But how are people buying guns in the city, legally or illegally?
A lot of illegal.
All of them, all of them. Every single
But-
death that's been caused by a gun has
Pistols.
been an illegal gun,
Pistols.
pistol or not. But yes, every single one has been a pistol. And you see the magazines on them are like this freaking tall, and they say they got 20, 30 rounds. And every time I say, "Hey, Lieutenant Bello," because he's the one that sends out the
Yep.
information, that person had a 20-round magazine. If I had a 20-round magazine for my AR, I'd be in federal prison. Why is that person arrested, detained for a night, let out on bail? When if I had a legal gun with a 20-round magazine, I'd be on the front page of the paper and be put in federal prison. That is an illegal gun. These people every single murder in Rochester has been done with an illegal gun. Every single one. There has not been, so this law would have not prevented a single killing in Rochester.
Well, my only thing as far as relying on the government and their ability to police any form of gun restrictions or any type of
Be the sheriffs.
right. I really don't trust the government's ability to do that. Let me just look at our current crime right? Like they can't even police the crime that's going on right now.
Even when they tell you where the guns are coming from, they'll
Yeah.
tell you that corner store right there is selling guns, and they can't go in there and take those guns out.
They know the criminals are going to be criminals regardless. So why not, focus on the illegal side and just the how-tos versus the people who are law-abiding citizens, and that you would probably want them versus the folks who are getting them illegally, because the crime, the numbers, the data really shows that people are doing most of the crime, committing crimes before they committed these crimes, right? So I don't trust
repeat offenders.
Yeah, repeat offenders. I don't trust the government's ability to regulate any industry.
But
They've
also
failed.
look at history
across the board.
Look at every country that has banned assault weapons. Every single country that's ever banned guns has turned into a country where people don't have the right to be fully free. All of them. Australia, China, Canada.
See how it's done in Brazil. They have way more stringent gun laws down there, and you can't go to the slums. And
no, because the people who get them illegally take over because they know you don't have it. They know they can go to your house because you don't have a gun.
A gun is different than an AK-47. I'm sorry. I feel strongly about that. I don't know what your experience is. You're military. You have a bit different perspective on guns.
A pistol and an AR are going to shoot the exact same. Every time you pull a trigger, a bullet comes out. There's no difference except for the velocity of the bullet. But other than that, Austin shooting a pistol and me shooting an AR, there's no difference. Every time you pull a trigger, a bullet comes out.
But not the ones that the AK-47s, the ones with that long, you pulling that clip in, you just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's an M249, which I also used in the military. That is a machine gun. That when you pull the trigger, it shoots. So you got to pull it every so often because you'll freaking shoot like this, like a crazy man. So semi-automatic rifles are no different from the pistols of today. An automatic, which is like an M249, that can be scary. No one buys those. There's not a person that buys those anywhere within the border of the city. I guarantee. I would never buy a M249 because that's not fun to me. Like, I enjoy being able to shoot long range. I like being able to use the sight, use my own eyes, be able to shoot something from a long range, knock over a can, and get into hunting with it. I enjoy that. That's something I enjoy.
You use an AK-47 to hunt?
Sport.
I use an AR.
You use an AR-15 to hunt?
I use an AR. Whatever it may be that I hunt.
Deer, bro. Busting them down. Just shooting them down.
And trust me, I know that there's a lot of people, especially in New York, who are against semi-automatic rifles. And I get that it looks scary, and it should look scary. And I hope I never have to use it on anybody. Just like I hope my wife never has to use her, whatever it may be that she owns on anybody.
Right.
And I've told her the last thing you want to do is point that at somebody. The first thing you want to do is point it up in the air, shoot something off to scare them away. You never want to kill somebody. That's the last thing you want to do as a person is to have that blood on your hands and have that mentality in your head where you go to sleep at night knowing that someone's death is on your hands. Last thing I would ever want. I'm the type of person you want owning those guns. And there's a lot of people out there like me who believe the same thing. There are a lot of people out there who do not care about pulling that trigger or what's on the other side of that trigger. They do not care about your life. They don't care about their own life. They will buy it illegally. So whether they ban it or not does not matter. So this right here only impacts people like me. And I'm not the person you want to restrict.
I'm sorry. I don't buy that. Drugs are illegal. Should we just legalize everything? I mean,
you know what? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because I'm not about to go and smoke crack tomorrow if it's illegal. If it becomes legal tomorrow, I'm like, I've been waiting. I'm gonna go.
I have not been waiting to smoke crack.
Well, that's your argument.
Right. I will only do what I want to do. So if you were to legalize it, it's not legalizing marijuana has done nothing for my life. I've never, I
still ain't token.
Right. So you haven't gotten into it? You haven't gotten into getting high every night?
No.
Driving to work, smoking?
Right.
So legalizing it has nothing to do with your decision making. It's what's inside your mind that affects the actions that you take. But I appreciate you arguing with me on something because there's very few times
you had
we
an
had some of
argument.
that. That's
The
good. No, I appreciate
contrasting
it.
conversation.
I got to
Yeah.
give him a little grief here. I gotta
Oh,
give him
I
a little-
love it.
His,
I
his
love
heart
it.
rate's going up. I can tell.
Oh, not my heart rate. You see those 19?
okay.
You see that bottle right there?
Yeah,
It's called
right.
19 Crown? That's named after me.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate the conversations that are
That's
held
good.
tonight because
it's it's healthy because
That's what we
I
need.
learn from you.
that's what we need, and we learn from each other.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
that's what people listen to debates for, to learn both sides of it and to be able to make up their own minds. Because there's a lot of people that don't know one side of it or don't know the other side of it. If we cut off debate and we don't have that conversation, then you'll never learn. You will never learn and we'll never grow. So I
Yeah.
appreciate the debate
Right.
there.
Right.
You're not gonna take my guns, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing a glass of wine with us.
It's
And,
been a pleasure.
We should
It's been
finish
fun.
the bottle at
Ah.
least, right? There's only a swallow left. What are we doing?
that's for Austin off camera.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, now I'm trying to cut back.
But I appreciate it. And throughout your investments all across, if you ever get into business with Kanye West or John Leguizamo, let them know that I want them on the podcast. I'd love to have them on.
Oh man.
Austin, hit that funky music.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't ready. So
Oh, you weren't
early.
ready for that?
Oh, you weren't ready?
Here we go.
I heard Kanye. I heard Kanye.